Last month, I think we generated about 16 clients, just strictly from using the principles and tools and everything that we learned in the PI track.
Anyone here was pretty much in your shoes about 3 months ago. So can you share with us your either limiting beliefs or your thoughts or your progression through the program?
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Hi, everyone. And my bread and butter is consumer law. Mostly what I do, well, prior to starting the PI track, I guess, was consumer law. So I defend against debt collections, I sue banks, I do foreclosure defense, that type of work. And before I did the PI track, I had completed Sam's legal funnel mastery program, and I've got a lot of the stuff in my consumer practice is currently being built on that foundation, and I have income and clients coming in using funnels and et cetera. So when I heard about Sam's PI track, I had no doubt it was going to work. I was also doing some PI work as part of my consumer practice, but it's really hard to market yourself as a PI lawyer because everybody else does PI. Like when you're a consumer lawyer, when you first start out and you start your law firm, day one, you're number one on Google search because nobody else does consumer law. Nobody knows what consumer protection is. And so you're like number one lawyer. And so that's been pretty successful for me in that sense. But as far as PI practice, I had known how to handle car accident cases, but it wasn't something I would advertise for. So when I heard about Sam's PI track, I started a separate law firm just for the PI practice. So I now run 2 law firms. And I think, Sam, we did the program back in September or August. And I mean, some of the limiting beliefs is like, well, is it worth it, right? You have to pay for the purchase, the cost of the program. And you always think, well, I don't know how much, maybe everybody paid different amounts. So I don't want to get into that necessarily. I don't think that's the point. But even if it's like $10,000, or all it really takes is just 1 or 2 clients for the program to pay for itself. And everything else is just pure income. I mean, minus your overhead costs. And so I think that's the overall mentality. I was afraid to invest money into the program, and you have to have a budget of about $5,000 a month. And I was like, well, that's not a small chunk of money. But again, the mentality that you basically develop is it's worth it. You have to think about it, you put in the money in, if you spend $5,000 a month, and if you get 10 clients from it, and if it's $5,000 per client, that's already worth the money. So I think that's the mindset that kind of helps overcome some of these monetary concerns. And so I did struggle in the beginning in terms of getting my Facebook apps, and I bought Facebook on numerous occasions, just trying to get them up and running and et cetera. But last month, I think we generated about 16 clients, just strictly from using the principles and tools and everything that we learned in the PI track. So that's 16 clients a month. I did some numbers before I joined. I think for the last month, we spent about $6,200 on the ads, and we got 16 clients from it. So I think that's about $393 per client. And if, 16 times 5, that's what, almost 70, my math sucks, but it's like $70,000. But that's if you're looking at 5,000 per client, because sometimes it's more. And we have some high damages cases as well. So I'm just using $5,000 just as an average. So it works. It can, and I think Sam is right. It's a lot. It a lot comes down to just doing the work and implementing the principles, because he can teach you how to do things, but he can't do it for you. So you have to do the Facebook ads. You have to have your intake set up, your intake team. You have to have systems and processes for handling a lot of clients. So if you get 5, 6, 7 clients per day, do you actually have staff that can handle that? Because if not, then you're just going to start losing those clients. So that's, I guess that's part of the challenge, but it's a good problem to have, I suppose.
Great.
Is there anything else I can answer or further elaborate?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, please bring it up for Boris. I'm gonna bring up some overarching principles that I want to kind of reiterate. So one is sticking to it, because in the beginning, as you shared, there were issues with Facebook, and it could happen, definitely happen to any of us. It happens to me at this point on a weekly basis. I'm used to it, so I'm kind of numb to it. It's gonna happen, but also I think I learned things from that process that will take a little bit of a safer route. Maybe we don't have to ask as many qualifying questions, Boris, things like that. But just, things are gonna happen. But the important part is sticking with it. It's kind of like the gym, literally the trainer. I'm here, don't worry, you can fight through it. Let's do it. So just expect that, but everything be okay. just about literally sticking with it. Second is forces you to start thinking about your systems and processes, which we don't really realize until, right, Boris, until we start getting clients. We're like, wait a minute, I don't have a dedicated intake and I don't have this good to CRM and text automations, all that stuff. So you start getting exposed to those things and it kind of forces you. Nothing is better to getting the result than being forced and being placed in that situation. So that's going to happen to us. And then third is, now I think, Boris, do you have a general idea how these things kind of work, right? It's just, there's an ads, there's the way we have to capture the leads, we have to set up automations, and we have intakers to sign them up. So that's essentially what it takes from any source or however way, shape or form. It doesn't matter if things change and now TikTok will be the new way or YouTube is the new way. It's the same overarching kind of principles. So that's the thing. So it's kind of learning how to fish that hopefully for decades we'll be able to kind of use these kind of principles. Amazing. Jason says $2,000 per case. Our goal initially when I started out was $1,500 or $1,750. Like we were willing to spend even up to $1,750. And that's something when you get to that level, then I push Boris, like, give me your numbers. And if that's the case, let's figure out what those numbers, cost per acquisition is, and let's try to push it to try to sign up as many as we can up to our target goal. I'm a lawyer myself, so I talk to vendors myself, and then they tell me what their target cost per acquisition is. I was talking to a very sophisticated marketer who's been doing this for 14, 15 years. He was like, Sam, you gotta refer me PI lawyers. I'm like, what's your cost per acquisition? He's like, you won't believe it. I'm like, what? It's like $4,000. I'm like, $4,000? Like, yeah, that's amazing, because the other marketers are like 50, 100. I'm like, are you serious? So that's the kind of state of thing it is.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you're a lawyer and you're looking to work smart, scale fast, and enjoy life, right below this video, you'll find a link to book a call to speak to my team so we can tell you how we've been able to help over 500 law firm owners scale their law firm. Now back to the video.
By the way, the other thing to note is every state is different competition, whatever, different demand. Everybody has different things, but I know things that I've done myself that I learned from lemon law and employment and all these other practice types that I'll kind of have you in mind. I'll share with you again based on your numbers. Thank you, Boris, for sharing that.
And I was at the bottom of our class. I think we had other. I was like I wasn't top 10%. I was actually like the last person. I think we had other people generating like 40 plus clients per month.
Yeah.
I got delayed just trying to get my Facebook to work and.
All good. But what was important is you stuck to it. That's the most important part, and that's the overarching kind of principle that I want everybody to understand. Stick to it. Amazing.
And delegating is another thing. I know you guys got to move on with the program, but I'm a perfectionist by nature in terms of like, I just got to do things myself. There's no way I can like have somebody else do intake. There's no way I can, have somebody else draft letters and et cetera. And one of the things that I learned from Sam, and I guess just going through the program, is just, I think I'm getting rid of that problem, or it's a self-limiting belief that kind of holds you back, because the only way to scale is just you got to hire people. And I've got like I think since we started the PI track, I already hired an associate, and I've got 2 case managers, and I've got several people doing intake, and now it's just I can't see it another way.
Amazing.
Just do everything yourself. So good luck.
Thank you, Boris.